Leccíon 39. Bread baking now and then. Did you know that bread is one of the earliest human inventions? Bread is a food made of flour and water. Other ingredients and shape can vary. Scientists have learned that humans have been eating bread in some form or another for 30,000 years. Ancient Egyptians ate a lot of bread. In fact, because they had no potatoes or rice, bread was the most important carbohydrate source in the ancient Egyptians' diet. Egypt gets little rain. Ancient Egyptian farmers relied on the annual flooding of the Nile River to irrigate their fields. Egyptian farmers paid a portion of their grain harvest to the Egyptian treasury. Archaeologists have discovered illustrations of bakeries and loaves of bread in ancient Egyptian burial sites. Professional bakers and home bakers used the same production techniques. Home bakers, usually women, baked only the bread they would need for that day. Egyptians used a grain from emmer wheat for their bread. The grain was ground by hand on a millstone. This process cracked and crushed the grain into coarse flour. The flour was mixed with water and sometimes a little old dough. It was placed in a pot and baked in a clay oven. This Egyptian bread was a flatbread. Indian naan and Middle Eastern pita are two examples of flatbreads eaten today. At the end of the ancient Egyptian period, however, around 300 BC, Egyptian bakers added to their bread an important ingredient: yeast. Yeast is a microscopic fungus. It makes bread rise. Today, bread production is more complicated. Yes, you can still bake your own bread at home with store-bought flour and yeast. You can also buy bread made at small bakeries. But the fluffy bread you see in grocery stores in the United States today is made in large commercial facilities. These commercial facilities or plants have business contracts to bake many different bread brands. Most breads today are made using 4 basic ingredients: flour, yeast, salt, and water. Farmers across the United States grow wheat in large quantities. Half of the wheat produced is used in the United States. The other half is exported to other countries. Grain is processed into flour by companies, which then sell the flour to commercial bakeries. These bakeries produce the dough and bake the bread, then package it and arrange for its distribution to stores.